Hello, fellow humans. Katrina here. Quick disclaimer, I am a professional. I'm not your professional. Nothing I'm about to say should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. Disclaimer over. Today, I wanted to tell you about what I don't know about coping skills, what the point of coping skills is, in my opinion, the differences between internal and external coping skills, and then I'll go over a few examples of some different coping skills that you might try on for size. So, coping skills are a band-aid, basically a band-aid for the moment. If you think of a scratch on your arm, you want to put a band-aid, maybe some Neosporin on it for the moment, but that cut still has to heal underneath. The wound still has to heal. So coping skills are a short-term solution to get us through whatever right here and right now intense emotion presents itself. Because an intense emotion can become so overwhelming that our prefrontal cortex, the more advanced part of the mind, just goes night-night, or at least mine does. Any intense emotion such as anger or fear, if it gets too intense, then our ability to think kind of goes away. So with coping skills, we're able to put a band-aid on it, get through the moment in the most effective way, and go about our day. You got to come back and deal with whatever the issue is later, though. So an internal coping skill is something that can never be taken away. Some examples of that include pretty much any type of breathing technique, which there are many. Finger touches, which is just where you touch your thumb to your forefinger, thumb to your middle finger, thumb to your ring finger, and thumb to your pinky, and repeat or reverse. And if that gets too complicated, you can use both hands. Sorry, if that gets too easy and you'd like it more complicated, use both hands. And if you'd like it even more complicated, you can do finger touches where one hand starts with the thumb touching the forefinger while the other hand starts with the thumb touching the pinky, and then do your finger touches that way. It requires a little bit more concentration. And finally, any body movements would be considered an internal coping skill, whatever that may be. I don't know. But within me, myself, and I, those are the internal coping skills. And there are a lot more than that. I don't know what they all are. But I want to talk now about an external coping skill. I look at that as anything that can be taken away. So examples of that include running. Let's say you're in the hospital, you can't really just get out and go jog. Listening to music. Again, I use the example of a hospital. I used to work at an inpatient hospital, so there weren't people walking around with earbuds listening to music. So that can be taken away. Or even earplugs can be taken away. Let's say that you're a kiddo and you have certain coping skills and then you get in trouble and your parent takes your video games away. So external coping skills can be taken away, and we don't want to rely on them solely in order to regulate our emotions. We want to have kind of a good combination of internal and external, and then you can really have that band-aid in the moment. So some potentially helpful coping skills include, but are not limited to, exercise, whatever that looks like for you. For me, that's a trampoline and a hula hoop. Put on fake tattoos. That's always a good time. If you don't have fake tattoos, you can also draw on yourself. There's also writing poetry, stories, journaling, or if you don't have the inclination to do that, you can scribble or doodle on paper. You can be with other people if that's possible. Watch a favorite TV show. Reruns are great to be a soothing technique, but be careful because it can also be a numbing technique. Hydrate. That's right. I actually learned that one in the Navy. Had any ailment, they said, get your canteen, drink some water. You could also go see a movie, which I don't know if movie theaters are open right now, but you can make your living room into a movie theater complete with popcorn and do it up that way. You could do a word search or a crossword or Sudoku. I like Sudoku.com. You can just go at any time and it'll even have different levels of difficulty. So let's say that easy gets too easy, you bump up your difficulty. You can do schoolwork if you're in school. You can play a musical instrument, whether you're good at it or not. Simply the act of doing it can put that band-aid on the moment and help you get through the moment, maybe with a little bit of amusement even. Let's say you're not good at the keyboard and decide to play a little bit, then you might end up laughing at your inability to play a piece. You can also paint your nails or do makeup or hair. There's also singing. One of the things that happens sometimes when experiencing an intense emotion is that folks can get to a point where they don't necessarily feel like they can breathe. And so singing kind of proves to yourself, okay, I'm singing, I'm not dying. And that can be a helpful coping skill, especially for panic attacks. You can study the sky. Don't look directly at the sun, but you can look at the clouds passing by, or if it's night, you can watch the stars and see which ones twinkle, or even find the constellations. Another one is punching a pillow. You can punch a pillow and it's not going to punch you back. It's not going to hurt anything. If it's a down pillow, I think it might have the potential to have some feathers come out. But for the most part, punch a pillow, punch a mattress, punch a t-shirt hanging in the closet. Those are all fine. I would just say watch your form because you don't want to hurt yourself. So maybe watch a YouTube video or two of how to punch if you decide to punch stuff. You can also let yourself cry. There are actually different chemicals between angry crying, happy crying, and sad crying. And so whatever the emotion is that's needing to be released, there are chemicals released in our tears that really help get that out. So letting yourself cry can be a coping skill. You can also, if you're tired, let yourself go take a nap. Let's say that you want to do something soothing on the body. You can take a hot shower or a relaxing bath. Or let's say that you have a pet. I have a little boxer and I just play with her or pet her fur, and that in and of itself can be extremely soothing. So today I told you a little bit about coping skills, a few ideas. I don't know, there's probably a ton more out there. I do want to give a shout out to yourlifeyourvoice.org, where there are a ton of helpful resources, including a list of 99 coping skills. So the few that I discussed today were simply a few that I pulled from their list, which, like I said, includes 99 different coping skills. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. So if you want to support the show, you can do that by clicking the button on the website. And as always, I do appreciate each and every one of you simply for existing.